Ray Brescia is the Associate Dean for Research and Intellectual Life at Albany Law School after a year as a lawyer in communities of color in New York City, focusing primarily on representing grassroots organizations in the areas of housing rights, worker rights, and environmental justice. He presented Gamifying Know Your Rights information that describes the potential for gamification to revolutionize Know Your Rights guidance, particularly for young adults. Haunted Housing is one of these games that is designed in partnership with community-based advocacy organizations in New York City to educate youth, particularly from immigrant communities, about housing rights. Check out his work, links in the description box below.
We are here at the NYC Public Interest Technology Pop-Up, and we are speaking with Ray Brescia. Ray, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us today for Open Data Week. Can you tell us a bit about what you are presenting today?
Sure. So in collaboration with game design company and community-based organization, we've built, and in the process of building, a game that will teach young people how to bring their landlords to court for repairs. So the game is a fun, whimsical, sort of allegorical setting where the user is a junior ghost hunter, and they work their way through a series of challenges, finding evidence that a house is haunted, right? And so they move through the game, they pick up on things that look like they could be evidence of haunting. They then gather their evidence. They then develop their evidence inventory using different tools in the game. They can ask for guidance from a friendly ghost. And then it all culminates essentially in a turn-by-turn digital card game where they confront the owner of the house, the demon lord, in contexts that are very similar to what a tenant faces when they face a landlord in court for housing repairs. And so the idea is to use this fun, engaging, somewhat whimsical game setting to teach young people in particular about their rights, with the idea that they can work with their families, they can work with their communities to challenge their landlord if they feel that their housing rights aren't being respected.
In your perspective, do you think that New York City's tenant regulations, housing regulations, are on the better side compared to other cities, worse side? How would you compare them?
So I spent 14 years as a tenants advocate lawyer in housing court in New York City. And there are a lot of protections for tenants. There are protections for many tenants in New York City around rent regulation. There are housing code regulations. There are anti-harassment regulations. The problem is enforcing them. So the big issue that we have in New York City is that there are decent laws on the books, but people don't understand them. People are afraid to enforce their rights, even if they do understand them. They can't get a lawyer. If they do understand them, they understand that their rights have been violated, and they want to do something about it, like bring their landlord to court, but they may be afraid of doing so. So we've got decent laws on the books. It's about understanding them, and it's about being able to really exercise your rights.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how a specific activity or challenge in the game might translate directly to a challenge that a tenant might face in suing their landlord?
Yeah, so this is a perfect example of what I've got here now. This is this sort of turn-by-turn element of the game where the junior ghost hunter, the user, the player, is facing the demon lord who owns the haunted house in paranormal court. And they're trying to prove that the house that they just inspected is haunted. So this is where it turns into that turn-by-turn game. And the like Magic the Gathering or something like that, the player will present evidence of haunting, and then the landlord, the demon lord, will respond in a way that is common when a tenant sues their landlord in housing court for repairs. So the junior ghost hunter has just presented evidence that there's a slime mold monster that was in the apartment that was found and captured by the junior ghost hunter. And they've got this evidence that it was gathered. And the demon lord may say, oh, yeah, sure. We know that there was a slime monster there last week, but my guys went in there and they scared that monster away. So it's not there anymore. Don't worry about it. The house isn't haunted. Classic response from a landlord. Yeah. There was a leak last week, but my guys went in and they fixed it, right? Now, you turn to the tenant, the user, the game player, and you say, okay, what do you respond when the demon lord says the slime monster has been scared away? Do you say, oh, I guess you're right, the slime monster is gone? Do you say, no, I saw it with my own eyes? Then it becomes a he said, she said. Or do you say, well, that's funny, because here's a photograph I took of the slime monster, and I took it yesterday. So maybe your guys came last week and you think you scared them away, but actually here's a photograph from yesterday. How does that translate into the real world? This happens all the time. A tenant complains of mold, right? They've got mold on their walls, and maybe the landlord did send somebody in, but they didn't do all the things you have to do to actually abate the mold. They maybe, they had somebody scrape it down and paint it over, but that mold's gonna come right back, right? Or they never came back and did anything about it. The landlord's just saying, oh yeah, we fixed it, don't worry about it, right? But if the tenant has evidence, that the mold is still there because they took the picture the day before, or they have pictures that show that, all was done was that they just painted over the mold. They didn't do the right treatments. They didn't do the things they had to do to actually fix the mold. Then that challenge that we did with the slime monster translates directly into the real challenge the tenant's going to face in housing court.
Tell us a little bit about where you are in this stage in developing the game.
Yeah, so we are not even at beta testing. We're still working. We have the art. We're working on the mechanics. We've done a lot of focus groups and workshops with youth from high schools and junior highs to think about what the gameplay would look like, how it could be exciting and engaging for them. In fact, the whole idea of haunted housing came from some of our high school students from our focus groups. So we're seeking the funding that we need to build the rest of the game. We've gotten some funding from foundations. The idea is that the game will be available for free. We'll socialize it and distribute it through the Board of Ed, through community-based organizations. Then there'll be instructors guide, so educators who are teaching a class on civics or on social studies, or at a high school that focuses on law or on social justice or on tech. They can teach our game players how to use the game, and then we'll also have an accompanying website. In addition to the materials for instructors, we'll also have a website that walks people through, translates what they learned in this fun game setting to the real world. Okay, you went through the haunted house and you found all the problems in the haunted house. Now you're going to do the same thing in your apartment and in the public areas of your building. You're going to document everything. You're going to take the evidence. You're going to gather it. You're going to get ready. You're going to go to court, and then remember all those lessons you learned when you were facing the demon lord. You're going to get the same kind of things thrown at you. Just be ready with the same kind of responses that you learned to give when you were facing off with the demon lord.
The city definitely has its fair share of demon lord landlords.
Indeed.
How can people support this project?
So folks can reach out to me if they're interested in learning more. Ray Brescia, I teach at Albany Law School in upstate New York. My email is rbres@albanylaw.edu.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, Ray.
Thanks so much for having me.